And hello friends, welcome to the Summerween Thrift Flip Challenge. In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform an old doll's head into a Hannibal Lecter-inspired faux planter. Are you ready to get started? The pattern for this mask is made by Epic Cardboard Props. I will link their YouTube channel in the video description. This is a free download, and they also have an awesome tutorial that shows you how to piece it together. So I watched that and followed those instructions to cut out the mask. I did use my laser cutter since my mask is so teeny tiny, and it made it easier to get all those tiny details cut. And then I put it together per their instructions. And now I'm going to use Mod Podge with a little bit of paper so I can decoupage over the mask and hide all those lines and create like a smooth faux resin finish. I did cut the mask from an old pizza box, so it's a very thin cardboard. And then this paper that I'm using is a very thin craft paper on a roll. And then that is just some glossy Mod Podge that I'm going to use to adhere the pieces onto the mask to cover it up. So I've cut the paper into tiny little squares, and I'm going to piece it over just the front of the mask, covering it all up to create a smooth-ish finish. This is what it looks like when I'm done, and I'm going to set that aside to let it dry completely. Once it has dried, see it's got that nice glossy finish because of the glossy Mod Podge, then I'm going to use a tool to poke through all those holes. So to make it a little bit easier to find, I started on the back and poked like a starter hole, and then I could flip it over and go to the front and completely finish those holes. So I would use my tool to push through and make the hole as large as possible so that it was clearly visible. I did try doing this while the paper was still wet. I thought that might be easier, but it wasn't. This was definitely a lot easier to do when it was dry. Next up, I'm using this Paint for Plastic by Plaid Crafts because it does give that kind of resin-looking finish that the mask in the film has. So I mixed up brown and yellow and white until I got this color that I felt was kind of close to what was in the movie, and covered the entire front of the mask with that paint. And then once again, set it aside and let it dry completely. So here's the look when it's dry. See, it's got that glossy, wet-looking finish, which is close enough to the resin mask that's used in the movie. Then I cut some 16 gauge wire into very small pieces, and I'm using Beacon's fabric glue, which, it says fabric, but I found that this product works on everything, even smooth surfaces like metal and glass. So it's kind of my go-to glue for these mixed media projects. And I'm going to glue each of those 3 little bars into the back of the mask and use pliers or jewelry making tools to help get those into place and let it dry. So there you see, the mask is almost complete. Now we've just got to add the straps to it. So I'm going to poke some thin black elastic cord through there. And there's my doll head that I have cut the hair part off of so that I can attach the mask. And because I'm always impatient, the glue hadn't dried completely, so I do have to go back in and fix those bars on the mouth just a little bit. Then I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind the nose there just to help hold this in place and make sure it doesn't slide off at any point. And it's looking pretty creepy. I love it. Perfect for Summerween. My last step is to take my glue gun and attach little baby Hannibal to a plate and then glue some flowers into the head. And there she's done. Hello, little baby Clarice. I hope you enjoyed this project. Let me know if you give it a try. Have fun crafting and creating for Summerween, my friends.